good afternoon, good evening to all my blessed beloveds out there in Living and Thriving Land. You're watching Living and Thriving with Rustie, and I'm Rustie, the one and only. You gotta cheer for yourself. You really do. I'm super excited because I've been able to travel all over the world to meet amazing people, what I like to call the fabric of humanity, and learn how they live and thrive. How they live and thrive through a pandemic, how they live and thrive through cancer, how they live and thrive through their storms and their journeys in life. And in that, there's so much I've been able to take away. Little nuggets of information I get to stick in my little tool belt, my spiritual tool belt. And I couldn't be more blessed, more grateful, and more excited. I jump out of bed every morning at 3 o'clock in the morning to do this. And I do back-to-back interviews several days a week so that I can show you the millions of people that are really amazing in this planet. We get to see the A-listers, the celebrities, the fancy, glowy, glittery people, and then we get to see the real bad guys, you know, the muggers and all that stuff on every aspect of our day. It's everywhere. But we don't get to see the people that are really making a difference, the people every day making a difference in everybody's life. And for me, I can't be more grateful than to do what I do. This is definitely my calling. This is definitely my journey. And I love it. And I devote the rest of my life to continuing to show you all of the beautiful people on this planet that are doing wonderful things. Today, Michelle Blood is on. She's going to share with us who she is, what she does, and why she gets up out of bed every morning. Another beautiful soul for you all to enjoy. Good morning, Michelle.
Good morning, Rustie. Hello.
Hello. It's finally, we tried to do this last week, but I ended up in the ER with pneumonia. So
yes, I know. I mean, when I heard your voice, I was like, oh my God, let's postpone it. Get better.
Yeah, you know? It's funny. I have an autoimmune disease, and every time I go out into the people land right now, I end up bringing something back. So I'm staying away.
What is it? Is it thyroid?
No, I'm a celiac.
Oh, goodness. Okay.
Yeah. Cousin to lupus, cousin to MS. Good fun.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Anyway.
So, anyway, you look and sound great today.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I'm full of energy. I don't know what happened with the eclipse and all of that.
Oh, yeah, I know.
I'm like, woo! I feel like I'm on top of a roller coaster, and I'm terrified of roller coasters. So that's my fantasy roller coaster.
That's a good place to be, though.
Oh, yeah.
It's a great place to be.
So, Michelle, who are you? What do you do? And why do you get up out of bed every morning?
Well, I fly out of bed every morning, usually because the cats want to get fed, but at 4 a.m. But no, who I am is I was a singer, rock singer in Australia. I started singing professionally since I was 5. And I had a life-changing experience in 1989 from a car accident, which led me on a new path to bring positive music to the world. And I teach meditation, Kundalini awakenings. I write books. I do videos. I've had TV shows, infomercials. I've worked in over 36 countries, lived in many, many other countries. And I love to do what I love and see people's lives transform.
Now, where are you?
I'm actually in California at the moment.
Okay. I was doing the time math, and I was like, oh my God, that poor girl. I didn't know you were in Australia today. Oh my.
Oh, it wouldn't have made any difference to me. I do podcasts at all times of day and night, different countries. So it's all good.
I know, but I still try to, make it as comfortable as possible. And, but good. You're only in California, so that's not terrible. You guys are opening up right now.
Yes, so I've been told.
Well, I mean, we've never really closed, and half of my state's sick, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What was it like in the hospital when you went in the hospital recently?
You're
in Florida, right?
I'm in Florida, yeah. So it's kind of the next epicenter because nobody's paying attention. You'd be actually very surprised at how many people think that it's a hoax down here. Our hospital's completely full. So
wow, because you were actually there.
Yeah.
So you saw it for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Well, I'm happy that you're well now. I'm glad we didn't do this. I was just like, oh my God, I heard your voice. And I was like, oh, she's sick. She's not well. And then you sent me an email that you had pneumonia. And I was like, oh, well, you go and look after yourself.
Yeah. But I love what I do. I find that there's such a need to introduce people like you to the entire world on a level that is very casual and very comfortable. We need more of that in our daily diet than we get, if that makes sense to you.
Of course it does.
You know, I think we have a very unhealthy relationship with social media, and we have an unhealthy relationship of looking for either the A-listers or the Oogie Boogie Man, you know, the robbers and all that stuff. And the fabric of what makes us human and what makes this world so beautiful are the millions of people in between that do service for others, and whatever that means to you. And that's really the premise of the show. So
yeah, absolutely.
What happened in 1989 that kind of shifted your outlook and your perspective?
Well, it's a great story. Actually, it's very, very unique, because so many people are like, well, how did you decide to do this and go change careers? And I said, well, I didn't really choose anything. It just it was my spirit that guided me, because I was a singer professionally since I was 5, as I said. So I was resonating with what my best life was. I'd got to the point where I had this fantastic band. We'd been touring for about 9 years. We were getting, you know, between 4,000 to 6,000 people every night, just touring all around Australia, nonstop. I loved it. I loved writing the songs. I liked managing the band. I liked recording. I liked doing the videos. I liked every aspect of it, even though it was really, really tough, because Australia's got only, well, back then it was only 16 million people, and it's a country the size of America. And so, as you can imagine, there's a lot of traveling, you know, like sometimes up to 14 hours to get to the next gig, you know. So one night, the truck driver fell asleep, and I was actually in the truck that night, and I was already asleep, and he fell asleep because he was just overtired, I guess. And he went into a telephone pole, and a lot of musical equipment and stuff went through the truck into the passenger side, my side. And so I was in the hospital for many, many, many months, because I had so many injuries. They said, look, you probably won't walk again. If you do survive it all, you'll have all these physical limitations. Let's just get you through to the next operation, then the next operation, the next operation. So, Rusty, it was really funny. I was just talking to a friend of mine that used to be a manager of one of the big gigs that I did, an old friend, and he was reminiscing about how crazy I was on stage back then, you know, cartwheels, jumping on top of speakers, you know. And so I thought, if I can't be this crazy performer, entertaining people like I love to do with this fantastic band, what am I going to do with my life? I know I can still sing and write songs, but I got myself into quite a depression, because not only was I in emotional pain because of, you know, what the outcome could be, but I was also in physical, not just pain, agony. So many, many people said, look, this isn't you. You're so positive. You're so happy all the time. You know, why are you so depressed? And I was like, excuse me? Because I'm sure people can relate to this. When you are resonating at a frequency of whatever the pain is, emotional or physical, but if it's both, and people come into a hospital room or come in to see you, and they're like, hi, everything's great. We're all shitting daisies. Life's wonderful. And it doesn't resonate with your frequency. So it feels painful when people are happy like that. You want people to commiserate and to go down that rabbit hole of oh, yes, life's terrible, and I feel so sorry for you. So they started putting on these positive tapes, which I couldn't move, so I couldn't turn them off. And this is really bizarre.
You got cosmically shanghaied? Is that what you're saying to me?
Yes, I did.
I love that hospital.
So my auntie Jan, who's a psychologist, she brought in some tapes, and then she had some motivational tapes, and I didn't know anything about motivational I didn't know about healers or speakers or anything like that. I was brought up a Catholic, happy Catholic, but sort of, you know, had forgotten about that. But the tape that she put on, she left and she came back and I said, my life has changed. And she said, why? And I said, that last tape. Oh, she said, I put that on by mistake. And I said, oh, there are no mistakes. I said, it was Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich. And why did a young female rock singer in Australia have her spiritual epiphany from a book that was written in the 20s about entrepreneurs in the 1920s, entrepreneurs like Henry Ford and how they became rich? You know, why would I care about that? I didn't care about any of that. What affected me was when Napoleon Hill said he had a little boy and the little boy was born with no hearing at all, not even 1%. And so he used auto-suggestion, affirmations. He would go into the little boy's room, the little infant boy's room every night and say, you can hear perfectly, you are healthy, you are positive, you are glowing. You know, he ended up sending him to a normal school. By the time he was 5, the little boy had 30% of his hearing back. Anyway, he grew up to be a great entrepreneur in the hearing aid industry. But I said, okay, auto-suggestion, affirmations. I've got nothing to lose. I'm just lying here anyway until the next operation. So I said, okay, Napoleon Hill said, you've got to say a positive statement about something that you want that you haven't got right now. And I said, oh, well, I want to be healed. So I said, okay, I am healed, because I wasn't. So I said, oh, off to a good start. I know I am, because I didn't know I was. He said, because I aming is really good to say I am. And I love myself. I am my friend. Now, I didn't love myself. I wasn't my friend, because if anyone's ever felt that depressed or suicidal, they'll understand what I'm talking about. So I thought, great, I'm off to the races. I'm going to be in first place. I've got the perfect affirmation, because not one word of it is true. I am healed. No, I wasn't. Yes, I am. No, you're not. I love myself. No, you don't. I am my friend. No, you're not. I thought, okay, I've got the best affirmation in the world. So I started for the first 2 days of creating this little affirmation for myself. I started saying it over and over again. Even as I was sleeping, I just kept saying it over and over again. I am healed. I know I am. But after 2 days, and I'm still not feeling better in my mind or in my heart or anything, definitely not in the body, I said, this is BS. This is rubbish. What am I reading this stupid metaphysical stuff for? None of it's right, you know. But then after a week after that, I had an epiphany. You're a singer-songwriter. Napoleon Hill said you've got to emotionalize it for the new thought to go into your subconscious mind, because otherwise they know about this now. They didn't back then. Neuroscientists know now that we've got a short-term memory. And if you don't believe something, you don't emotionalize it, it just flies out. That's why I always had a little tape recorder with me, so that anytime I had a songwriting idea, I could sing it onto the tape recorder. And Mick Jagger, I know so many singer-songwriters who do that. You've always got something there so that it doesn't go into the short-term memory and fart off into the universe. And so I thought, I'm going to sing it. I'm going to create a little jingle for myself and sing it. So I sang it, and I sang it over and over again on my little cassette that I had. And I just keep getting the nurses to replay. I am healed, I know I am. I love myself, I am my friend. Over and over again. And to make a very, very long journey much, much shorter, because we can't be here all day, is I went on to have miraculous healing. I ended up writing so many more affirmation rock songs. I went into the studio and started recording them just for myself, not for anyone else's ears. And I started feeling this frequency of love, of joy for the world. And I was completely healed. I started my band up again. But then some journalists in Australia found out about my healing, because being a rock singer in Australia, and they thought it was quite fascinating. And so then, after being on the television and some newspapers and some rock magazines talking about these affirmation songs, then some promoters who promoted people like Dr. Deepak Chopra, Wayne Dyer, Stuart Wilde, Louise Hay, Bob, I didn't know Tony Robbins. I didn't know who any of them were. I'd faintly heard of Tony Robbins because he did some infomercial, but I didn't really watch television because I was always on the road. And most of the time, the hotels they gave us didn't include television sets, that's for sure. You know, yeah, the rock band can just stay in that hovel over there. They'll be fine. So they said, we want you to sing at the gig. You know, we've got a gig coming up with Deepak Chopra and Stuart Wilde and Dr. Wayne Dyer. And I said, I don't know who they are. Oh, they're very famous authors. They're very, you know, in the metaphysical realm. And I was like, well, I don't know if I'm interested in doing that. And they said, well, we'll pay you $5,000 a gig and you'll tour all around. You'll be flown everywhere and you can sell your songs at the back of the room. And I said, oh, I've never even thought of giving them to people. No, we love them. And you can sell them at the back of the room. We'll just take 10%. So that started me on my journey, because I was backstage after I'd been singing and talking about my healing. Wayne Dyer came on. I was really interested in what he was saying. I said, this is different. I can sort of resonate with what he's saying. And I was sitting next to an Indian man, and he introduced himself. And I said, oh, hi, yeah. And he said, oh, I love what you're doing. He said, this is very good for healing. I'm Dr. Deepak Chopra. And I said, oh, nice to meet you. G'day, who are you? I didn't know who he was.
He said, just such the nicest person. I love Deepak. I met him many years ago at a ski resort in Vermont. And there are a lot of people in this industry that are so authentic and so real and so true. You just wish you could bottle them up and squirt their happiness and joy on you, you know? And he's one of them. He's fantastic.
Yeah. So I said, okay, fine. And then a couple of months later, I did a gig with Bob Proctor. Most people know him from that video, The Secret, but he wasn't that well known in the public eye at that time, but he still had a big following. And he didn't want me to sing at his gig, but they said, look, we're the promoters. We've paid you. We're paying her. The younger people are coming in because she's there. It's really interesting, her story. And he said, I don't need a singer, but okay, all right, whatever. And then at that first gig in Sydney, he came backstage after his first break and he just said, oh my God, I love what you're doing. He said, this is what I've been teaching my entire life, affirmations, you know, intention. And he said, your story's amazing. I can't believe no one else has done it with pop music. And he said, I want to take you all over the world. I want you to sing at every gig I do. And then more and more and more people asked me to do it. So I started touring all over the world, ended up giving my band up and started just doing not just the affirmation music, but also started writing positive pop songs like You Can Do It, and started singing them in different languages and having hit records overseas, and started writing books and getting deeper and deeper into the mystical side of life, because as your frequency is faster, and the affirmations and the music, you have an entire brain experience. It goes straight into your subconscious mind. You can't get a jingle out of your head, even if you don't want to get it out of you. It's just
trust me. I still have the hamburger helper jingle in my head from when I was a kid in the 80s.
Right, exactly. That's why advertising agencies spend billions, not millions a year on jingles, because they know once you associate that music, whether it's a well-known song that they've managed to use or whatever, that your product will always be with you, you know, with the audience, even if they don't smoke cigarettes or they don't drive Toyotas or whatever it is. That's why Australians like Vegemite. No one else in the world loves Vegemite because of the jingle, because we all heard the jingle over and over again.
Do you actually really like Vegemite? Because I'm sorry, I'm just not a fan. It's kind of like the Australian version of Spam.
Well, it's vegetable extract with salt, basically. And we put it on our toast, and I love it. I mean, I pay quite a lot of money to get it sent from Australia to me here because I love my Vegemite, because the jingle, we're happy little Vegemites, as happy as can be. We all enjoy our Vegemite for breakfast, lunch, and tea. You remember these jingles for years.
Yes, you do.
So, yeah, so that's how I started off. But because my frequency was at a higher vibration, my doubting mind, any mind that was of the Maya, of the consciousness of the planet, was leaving me, and I was getting more and more mystical experiences, going deeper and deeper into meditation practice. And I found it all began because everyone wants to get rid of their doubting mind. They want to have more money. They want to have more success, but they find it very, very challenging to use an affirmation or set an intention because their vibration always goes back to where it was. They might get pumped up for the day, but without bringing it into a faster frequency, you will always end up going back to where you are. And that's why people get so frustrated. They can be the best people, the most positive people, but there's something within them that keeps them stuck. And it's because their thinking and their experiences, their emotions, especially emotions that have been hurtful, any sort of physical pain, emotional pain, stays in the subconscious mind. And I found the only way to really release it, you can sort of get it to go down further into the consciousness, but people will still get triggered. So you can use the affirmations and visualization and many, many different things, but it's the energy of the eternal light. Once you have awakened and you have someone who can transmit light, and that's what happened to me. I met an enlightened teacher who could transmit that energy, that frequency of the divine frequency, which burns away those things in the consciousness. Like we've got this beautiful diamond. Everyone is this beautiful diamond that's sparkling on the ocean of the eternal light. But there's all this sludge that ends up blocking our light from experiences that we don't enjoy, and we don't feel ourselves anymore. We can't feel light. We can't feel happiness. We can't feel that divine presence. So people will, you know, everybody, I've worked all over the world, lived in so many different countries, and it doesn't matter what the culture is. Everybody wants freedom. Everybody wants to be of service. They want to be happy, but they don't always know how to do it. They just know that they want to be free.
That's because they haven't tapped into living and thriving yet, Michelle.
Right.
You know, there's a reason for the season. So what I love, and I'm going to hold you down a little bit because our time's ticking faster than we can get to the juice of the, you know, the bites. So primarily, and I'm going to break it down into little bites. You had this amazing wild child, crazy ass career, jumping up and down, singing at the top of your lungs, having a blast. Then you got crushed, and you were forced to, because you were crushed, you were forced to connect to yourself in a very deep way, in a very, very beautiful way, because like a caterpillar, you had to figure it out and get out of your cocoon, right?
Right.
Then you were introduced to some of my favorite authors who I grew up with, and you got to go around the world again, but in your new body, in your new butterfly, in your new cosmic awareness. And I want to leave it at that part because I'm a true believer of perspective. What is your perspective of your journey? I mean, it honestly sounds like God was like, boom, you're going to listen. This is what you're going to do. This is your purpose, and you're going to do it.
Yeah, well, that's a really good question, actually, Rusty. It's like the perspective, if you look at it that way, it's very, very clear that all the things that I'd been able to do, because when you run a rock band and you're the singer and the songwriter and the manager, it's such hard work. So I'd always had this extreme discipline to be able to organize everything, make sure everyone was paid, get the right road crew. It's extremely hard work. It's like, especially for, you know, Michael Hutchinson's, I'm name dropping, but I knew him really well. He said to me, how do you do it? It's so tough traveling around Australia, you know, even for us as guys, how do you do it? And I said, I'm just really disciplined. I don't smoke, I don't drink. I just look after my voice all day so that I can, you know, do what I do every night on stage for hours and hours every night, you know? And so I'd already built up that discipline to be able to use my willpower to always do the right thing, look after the band, make sure everyone was happy, look after the audience, make sure the money was paid. It was really tough. So I had all that experience as an entertainer, but also as a businesswoman. And so all that experience that I'd had all my entire life being on stage and doing all the things I did were there so that I could go into my higher purpose, which was to be eventually awakened, meet this amazing enlightened teacher, and then to be able to do the same for other people, which I do for people all over the world with something. We've got a membership called the Mystical Experience and mysticalexperience.com. So people come from all over the world to enjoy, even if it's just to get a little wealthier or just to break, to be some healing, but mainly because they want to have transformation. They want to get away from their doubting mind. They don't come to be awakened and enlightened, but sometimes they do have an experience, many experiences. Everybody has the old paradigms melted away through the light that's transmitted to them. But then they go on to, I want everyone to have everything that they want to bring them happiness, because then they won't be thinking about that stuff anymore. And then they can go deeper into their reason for existence, which is to become enlightened, self-realized, have their Kundalini awakened, whatever you want to call enlightenment. Everybody has the opportunity to do it, because everybody is born with that Kundalini energy at the base of their spine. Anyone can wake up, but it's really challenging, because I was still soul sick. I was having this life that was amazing and being of service to other people, bringing happiness and joy, but at the same time making heaps of money, tons of money. But the main thing was, even though I was killing it, it wasn't enough. I had to connect with my soul. I wanted to find somebody who knew God. And I worked with so many amazing people, but they didn't know God. They're just really nice, motivational people. They know how to motivate people and bring them some happiness and give them some ideas that will transform their lives. Because you've got to work on your own. But what I've realized is you can't do it alone. Even though many people will say, okay, just use this modality, use that modality. But if they don't get into the energy of who they are, their soul, and start working on that, they'll just end up being reborn again and again and again until they get their freedom, their true freedom, which is
and I think
it's all about.
I think it's really important for people to do their research and develop their tribe. You know, it's very much what you're saying, in the sense that you can't completely become free without someone coming in and cutting the chains off of you. And sometimes you have more chains than others, and you'll have different types of people coming in to assist you with that. But being open to having that conversation and being open to the experience is a huge fundamental piece. And it sounds like you had been forced open in a lot of ways with your journey. And what's fun about you as a person, and we're just talking on a little video camera thing, you have so much energy. You know, you just have this vibrance to you. So all of that hard work and everything that you've gone through, you've let it go, obviously, because you're flying. I can see just that joy. Talk to us a little bit before we have to wrap up. Talk to us a little bit about how you went about seeking your tribe.
I wasn't seeking, I just, if you can give me a little clarity, what do you mean by my tribe? Do you mean my students, or?
No, the people that you allow into your life to help heal you.
Well, I wasn't looking for, I've always been a bit of a loner, because I mean, I'm a female singer in a rock band. I never dated anyone in the rock band. So I was always being a bit of a loner. I just started, every country that I went to, I would go to different countries to see if I could find someone who knew God. And I would just feel guided to which country I was supposed to go to next. So because I would thought the teacher I was looking for would have to be a bald Asian man or an Indian man with long gray hair. And it ended up being in America, where I found this beautiful, I was at a gig one night looking again at a teacher, an Indian teacher in San Diego. And I was looking at his CDs at the end, and I thought, yeah, this man really, I can feel vibration from it. I think he is what he says he is, enlightened. Met Babaji, all that sort of stuff. But he's not my teacher. I'm not feeling that connection. So then there was this lovely young man who said, I can sort of feel that you know what enlightenment's about. He said, what do you think about this guy? And this guy's name was John, and we ended up having coffee. And he ended up saying that he had an enlightened teacher, a Mahasiddha. And he said he'd left the body. And so he was on his journey to find another teacher. He said, I can't live without finding an enlightened teacher now that I've experienced what that's like to have that light transmitted to you. So that was the beginning of, in America, of my tribe, so to speak. So he started working with me, and because he was a computer whiz, he would do IT, he would do my websites, help me with my TV show. And then he said, one of the students of my teacher became enlightened. And so he is the one who guided me to see, he said, I think you'll be able to see if she's enlightened or not. And I could see it straight away. Her hands were glowing and there wasn't anything around and my eyes were tearing up. And I was like, how's this young woman who's younger than me enlightened? I don't understand. I thought you had to be an Asian man. You know, I didn't know. And so then it started, I was accepted as her student, and I found that I started attracting more and more like-minded people. I wasn't really in love with all the students because I found a Sangha situation, there's jealousies and different things that go on. If you have a higher spiritual experience than someone else, it's very, very weird. You know,
it's like, that's been the most bizarre experience that I've had is my tribe is solely light workers, solely healers. And I've noticed, especially during COVID, that there's been a lot of unmasking. Ironic, we have to wear a mask, but like unveiling.
I love that. I haven't heard anyone say that yet, but that's great. A lot of unmasking. Yeah, it's true. It's true. So I just didn't, I just started doing, my gigs. I guess had people coming to me for my gigs, but my tribe now are my students that have been attracted from, they're from 26 different countries. I've always been a bit of a loner. I was just wanted to have that time with God. I live in the mountains on my own with my 2 cats. And I've been doing, instead of my events that I travel around and do, and the people fly in from all over the place, I've been doing the Zoom virtual events. And so my tribe that I'd really be looking for, my like-minded tribe, is my teacher, who's not teaching now, my students, and a lady called Darren and Trevor and John, who work with me in what we're doing. And the rest of the people, I don't really hang out or socialize with people because I'm always in meditation or I'm teaching or writing a new book or something like that. So I found that it was very, very unusual that we have attracted our particular tribe, these amazing people, doctors, lawyers, dentists, musicians, homemakers, college kids. It's the soul type. It's not, so many people say, oh, what's the type of person who would be interested in having an enlightened teacher? And I said, a soul that wants to be free. That's the sort of people. And you end up attracting them. And they have been so supportive of each other. If someone's hasn't had work, they've given them money, they've tithed money so we can give people money, pay people's rent. They're all the most amazing people I've ever met in my life. So I have my tribe now, and it is people that are on the path to enlightenment, and they are givers, and their masks were off already. And they really proved themselves by being even though they're all in different countries, being of service to each other, emailing each other to make sure that they're staying online. It's been amazing to understand how that works, because as I said, in the Sangha, having students that were there, I didn't realize that people would just come to an enlightened teacher for power, so they could get the power from the light. I just didn't understand it. It's like, don't you want to know God? It's like, what are you bitching about? You're so blessed to be here. So yeah, and I'm very fussy about who becomes part of that tribe, so that we don't have a situation where that bitchiness comes in, because people's fears really do unmask themselves in times of any sort of strife that is happening in the world. It'll affect people very much. It's like you see the Christian women coming out of church and then they get in road rage. They're all, oh yes, see my hat. And then they get out on the road, they're like, oh, you bastards.
I know. So, I was doing my I make homemade dog food for my dogs, and
oh, cool.
Yeah, it's mind, body, and soul. It's gotta be good.
Yeah.
And I was in a box store yesterday, and the woman in front of me was very angry and very bitter, and just had so much coming out of her. It was like a volcano of hatred, and I had to leave. I had to go to a different line, because I was like, I don't want that toxicity to touch me anywhere near me, please, because that's not my journey or my life path. So, Michelle, tell us more about how you think we can do a better job at coming to terms with our our light, our path? What kinds of steps, baby steps, beginner steps do you suggest?
Yeah, good question. There are so many different things. Everybody is different. Everyone likes a different sort of modality. So I think you experiment, listen to we're going to give you some affirmation songs. You can listen to them. If you can get yourself to find out, make a decision that you want to transform your life and that you can do it. Even if you don't believe it right now, believe it's not impossible to transform. If you can believe it's not impossible, then you can believe it's possible to transform your life. Whether it's because you want to create more wealth in your life to support your family, or to be of service, or just to feel good about yourself. Maybe you want to release some weight. Maybe you want to release some husbands or boyfriends. Whatever it is, you can transform your life. You can make a decision. You're not stuck anywhere. That's just a state of mind. So find out, first of all, what you don't want. If you know what you don't want, then you can begin to create, at least start writing down what you do want and create a life that is good. Start watching. Don't go down the social media rabbit holes like, Rustie recommended. She wisely said, don't do that. Don't allow yourself to get into the complaining mode. If you can stop complaining, oh my God, if you can just do that. Because when you're complaining, you're just in fear. You're afraid of something that, probably doesn't exist. You're afraid of losing something that you've got, or you're afraid of not getting something that you want. You're masking your fear by complaining. If you can stop complaining, that alone is something that would transform your life. So what you do is when you're in the middle of a complaint, you just say to yourself, oh my God, what am I complaining about? I'm being judgmental. I'm complaining because I'm masking my fear. What am I afraid of? Start facing what you're afraid of, and then realize that it probably will never happen, the thing that you're afraid of. And just start living in this moment. Stop living in the past with your mind, or projecting about people or anything in the future, because God doesn't live there. Whatever you choose to call that divine energy, that pulsating soul that you are, lives in this moment. And in this moment, miracles can happen for you. And that is the truth.
I am a huge fan of miracles, but I'm also a realist in the sense that I understand humans' ability to self-sabotage. That is a favorite one that humans like to do. But I think taking those tidbits are perfect, but applying them to 21 days. It takes 21 days to make or break a habit. And listening, Trevor, I think, is a young fellow that sent me an email for a link that's going to be down below for some gifts for you guys to listen to. 21 days. I'm telling you, that's when you see a real huge shift in who you are as a person, and the kinds of changes that can be made by just doing healthy stuff. So start out small, 3 days. Don't complain for 3 days. Have a full day on the 4th. Complain all you want all day on the 4th. Then go back to another 3 days. And you will feel a physical shift. But even larger than that, as I continue to pursue my universal light and wisdom, I find that I repel. Like I just find that for some reason, it's like I hit a cosmic wall when somebody's like that, and I have to go into the other room. Do you notice that, Michelle? I've become kind of a loner as I grow, because I can't participate.
Well, when you're a sensitive soul, you can feel, when you're more awakened soul, you can feel energy. And sometimes it's very challenging to not take on other people's energy. So I say to people, I know you want to be of service to the world, but a book that I co-wrote with Bob Proctor, the second half of the book is called The Sea of Unlimited Consciousness. And I go through the different levels so that you can see where you are in consciousness. So you can see whether you're being reactionary or judgmental. You can find out whether you're depressed or you're actually going through a dark night of the soul, which is a good thing. And you can actually sort of start realizing where you are, what level you are of consciousness, so that you can start doing something about it. Because when people are very loving and sensitive, they go out there to the world and they want to be able to save people, help them, uplift them. But if you're not a strong enough swimmer and you're going to drown. You're going to drown, both of you. So I say to people, don't go out there and do things unless you have got to that point where you can see what someone is. You can see, okay, that person is in pain, but I know that they're not a bad person. You can see the light in each person. You can literally feel it. And then you can immediately uplift that person without them even knowing who you are by visualizing them happy. See light being just transmitted into them. And until you can do that, and I don't know anyone who can do that unless they're awakened, it's very, very challenging. Don't go out there to the world. And I had this one woman, she couldn't even go into a grocery store because if she saw someone angry, it would affect her. She'd be shaking all day because she was such a sensitive soul. But the more she started practicing meditation and going deeper and deeper and having more light transmitted to her, now she can get out there. She doesn't complain about anyone. The things that she couldn't do, she couldn't see her sister or her mother because they'd always fight at Christmas. Now she's harmonized her entire family. Everything has been healed. And what I found is, if there are, you don't have to release people from your life. As you go into once you start resonating at a different frequency, people will naturally just either stay with you and come with you on the journey and become part of your tribe, as you say, or they will release themselves. Before you know it, they will just release themselves. And you'll be guided where to go and what to do, because you should not ever, I definitely not shooting on people, but don't hang out with people if you're not resonating with their frequency. Unless they're your children, of course. You've got to look after your kids and your animals, but animals are always pure and beautiful, because you're not going to be able to uplift yourself if you're continuously around people that complain. And every time you say you're going to do something or reinvent yourself, they go, oh, no, don't do that. They put the fear of God into you that you'll fail. You can't change your lifestyle. You can't change your career because what if you don't make any more money? But now, since everyone's been in lockdown and all this stuff has happened, I've seen people become more and more aware and look at the different possibilities. One of our members is a piano teacher in Switzerland. Beautiful young lady. She's actually originally from Spain. She always flies out to America when we put live events on. And she's a piano teacher. And she said, what am I going to do? Because I can't, teach piano. The school's closed down. And we said, start doing it online. And so she's, we helped her set up a website. She started teaching online. She said, I'm going to do this forever. I can teach, because she speaks 5 languages. I can teach people from all over the world. She's going to make more money than ever before, have so many students. So a lot of people have become more aware of what the possibilities are. And if you're hanging out with people who are telling you that that's not possible, don't hang out with them anymore. Don't be afraid of them, but just don't hang out with them, because you want to be a strong swimmer and you want to be around people that are strong swimmers as well and can perhaps even teach you to swim. And then your life will transform.
I love it. And this is the part where I get to be a needle in a bubble parade. Michelle, where do we find more information about you? How do we sign up for your school? And I'm just feeling very grateful that you came into my life, because you just embody exactly what LTR is all about.
Yeah, I could see that when Trevor said, what do you think of these people? And I said, oh, I love her already. That's awesome. Yes, to being interviewed with Rustie. You can feel the energy of even just an email. Anyway, so but I started listening to you as well, of course, before we go to any decisions. And I was like, oh no, she's totally like-minded. That's wonderful. You just go to www. I don't suppose you have to say that anymore these days, but I'm a lot older than you or anyone else probably listening. themysticalexperience.com, themysticalexperience.com. You can check out the videos, and you can also look at the special that we've got. We've got the 6-week video course that put 20 years of my teaching, all the different things that would help people make more money, release negative energy in their home, in their life, so many different things. 6-week video course called The Mystical Transformation. You can go to michelleblood.com. It's spelled with 1 L, M-I-C-H-E-L-E, blood. Don't blame me. It's my father's name. michelleblood.com/living and thriving. And you can check out the affirmation audiobook and membership and all the different things that you can do there. If you even just do 3 of the things in this special that we have for you, your life will thrive. And I want to thank you, Rustie, so much for letting me share my story. And thank you for working so hard to uplift other people and to bring positivity to the world and light to the world. And I'm so happy to hear that you're well now. That's great.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, you know, I think you just get bumps in the road. Is what it is. But life,
Yeah, exactly.
life
Yeah, people can't judge. Stuff just happens on the planet. Stuff happens to people. It's like you don't judge and say, oh, they can't be spiritual if they've got this or that happening. And those sort of people just, run away from them because they're judgmental and they don't have a clue about what they're talking about.
I think it's really imperative to develop your tribe in a vibrational sense where you're like-minded, you're doing what it is that your purpose, your insides really are screaming. Our souls are always on fire. Like we want to do something amazing, and lining that up with the right people and the right food, the right spiritual stuff, and your environment, that is the best version of you. When you get into that whole judgmental thing and the negativity, it's just, for me, I don't have any desire for it. It's drama llama stuff.
Yeah, it's not natural. People create drama because they want to feel something and they get a short burst of energy, but then people are really actually good. They're really good. People's souls are good. And then they feel nasty that they've done that, but they gain some energy through complaining or being judgmental or saying something nasty. Then they feel bad about it. But at an unconscious level, they start doing it again because they want energy. You don't have to be nasty to get energy because you're just going to drain yourself more when you do that. It's not going to hurt the person so much. It's just going to hurt you. No, and you don't want to hurt you. You don't want to hurt yourself.
You want to get energy, go take a shower, go for a run, running, go have sex, exercise, go and play ping pong. There's so many other ways to obtain energy that is positive and healthy and good for you. And I agree with you, Michelle. 99.9% of the people on this planet are absolutely beautiful. Even grumpy.
They're just in fear. That's all. Once that fear is released, they come alive. And when you see someone blossom and come alive, there is nothing more beautiful in the world to see someone actually become who they're supposed to be, which is a happy. Everyone is supposed to be happy, and everyone's blocking their happiness, masking, as you said, because I thought that was awesome, masking their happiness by doing things that will stop them from looking at their shadow. You've got to look at your weaknesses. You've got to look at your shadow side so that you can release them and strengthen your weaknesses by doing the things that are the opposite of what that weakness is. Anyone can do it. You can do it. So many people have done it. This is an opportunity for you right here, right now on the planet to rise above and transform yourself, because you can do it. You're not alone. Nobody is alone. There is this omnipresent light that is always with you. You can sort of look at it like, if you want to look at it as a joke, because there's light everywhere. You want to call them angels, enlightened beings, whatever you want to call them. It's like there's this angel up there called Stephanie, and she's talking to Gabriel. Hey, Gabriel, there's someone down there who really has made a decision to transform. You're shitting me. No, I'm not. They're really down there. Oh, better go and tell Michael. The light, the intelligence, the omniscience, the wisdom that adores you and wants you to be happy will run to be with you, because it's there all the time anyway to assist you. You're never, ever alone. Call upon that higher self and it will help you.
Amen. I love you. Big hugs. Big hugs.
Thank you, Rustie.
So we have to wrap up the show because our ticker is running out, that darn hourglass. But you guys, wow, we had a wealth of information. Not only did Michelle talk about shitting daisies, which is an interesting way to plant them, she also talked about definitely getting good with yourself and looking at the beauty of who you are and where you're going and what your impact is on the world. And that is huge. So as I say, you're going into the cosmic gym. For those of you who are gym goers and buffers and, toners and all of that, it's the same thing, but it's for your mind, body, and soul. Go into the cosmic gym, work out every day. Put good stuff in your head, put good stuff in your environment. I totally love a whole bunch of modalities. I'm constantly learning. because that's good for my head and it's good for my heart, and it gives me compassion, because you don't know what you don't know until you know, right? Pick up a book, go watch a movie. Hay House Rules. They have all kinds of audiobooks. They have all kinds of teachings. Go check them out. They're $4.99 a month right now or something. I got an email on it. You'll figure it out. Go and see Michelle Blood's website. I'm telling you, this is so achievable. If you can go to the gym and work out for 2 hours every day sweating, you can do the emotional, internal, spiritual sweat too. And when you do, oh my God, this world is so beautiful. I can't even tell you, there are literally no words in any language on this planet that can express how beautiful I see this world. And it's shiny and it sparkles and it's just amazing. But I also had to realize a long time ago that I'm one bag of water with lots of corks, surfing on a huge vomiting, burping rock without a steering wheel. I have no control over any of this. And when you get good with that, it's all good, right, Michelle?
That's awesome. I've never heard, you're so unique. I love that.
Honestly, you can't get any more real than that.
Oh, I love it. Irreverence. I love it. You've got to be irreverent to be spiritual.
You know, I mean, what else are you going to do? You
right.
That's the reality.
No, you're awesome. You're really lovely.
Know that you're loved, know that you're beautiful. And like Michelle said, go and do something vibrationally beautiful, like sing or dance. Nobody's paying attention to you. They're all watching their cell phones right now. So even if you're dancing in your front yard, butt-ass naked, turn up the tunes. This is the time you're going to get away with stuff like that. Trust me.
Put on your sequence, even though no one's watching. Listen to some Casey and the Sunshine Band. For all those people under 50, you'll have to look them up.
Absolutely. While you're at it. Go out, be kind, be in service. Go buy a book of stamps. The post office needs our help. And you know what? Yes. I love letters. So send me a letter.
I'm going to. You give me your mailing address. I'm going to send you some books and a letter. A nice card.
God, it's like my birthday. I love it. So go and be kind. Do something fun. Take your broomstick, tap on your neighbor's door, make sure they're still alive over there. Maybe make some peanut butter cookies. You can do that keto style. And then go and read something good and healthy and delicious. Maybe take a bubble bath. Who knows? Until next time, know that you're loved. Know that you're beautiful. And I'm rooting for you. You got this.